All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004. We're going to hope for some better fortune this time that we can get most of the way, if not all of the way, through this 500-mile race. Another mile and a half, Texas Motor Speedway. I know we just did Atlanta Motor Speedway today, but we wrecked out 25 laps into the race, so we're going to hopefully get to the end of this one. This will for sure be the last live stream today. No matter how long this one takes, but hopefully we can make it through. Again, feels like Greg Biffle's got a fast car, qualified inside the top 10. We'll see how this is going to go. Hopefully we have good long run speed. I really don't know. I literally only ran like 15 laps of practice. Ran qualifying, so a little bit of happy hour. So we'll see how this is going to go. Called 48, Joshua White, Epic. We'll just call you Epic for short. Here we go. Just gonna hop right on into this one. I turned the mic volume down, by the way, so if the mic volume is a little too low, let me know and I'll turn it back up, but I think it's all right.
And doing it at the wrong time will cost you big in the form of body damage. A slip-up, even for a moment, can send you banging off the wall before you know it.
Greg Biffle won the Ray Bestos Rookie of the Year award in the NASCAR Busch Series in 2001. He started all 33 races that year and posted 5 wins. Bill Elliott owned and drove for his own race team for 6 years before joining Ray Evernham in 2001.
You know, driving for your own race team is a tough deal. I think Bill was happy to get back to worrying about one thing, being fast out there on the racetrack.
After finishing second twice to Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the Busch Series Championship, Kenseth beat him out for the Rookie of the Year in 2000.
And he did it without qualifying well. Despite only 2 top 10 starting spots, he posted a 14th place points finish with a win and 11 top 10 finishes.
Engines are firing up. Cars will be rolling out onto the track, and we will take you through the starting lineup. Radio Shack 500. Almost forgot the title of the name for a second. Rookie mistake there. Ryan Newman will be starting on the pole for today's race. Second straight pole for him. Jeff Gordon, a much better qualifying effort than at Atlanta. He'll be starting outside pole in second. Mark Martin, also better qualifying effort for him. And Michael Waltrip, they'll be in row 2, starting third and fourth. In row number 3, it'll be Robbie Gordon, Sterling Marlin. A lot of the guys that you saw start mid-pack, if not further back in the field, starting in the top 10 here today. Kenny Wallace, Kurt Busch will make up row number 4. In row number 5, our driver that we will be running with all season, Greg Biffle, will be starting 9th. Ricky Rudd will be starting in the 10th position. Johnny Benson, Hermie Sadler making up row number 6. Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr. making up row number 7. Ricky Craven, Bill Elliott in row number 8. Row number 9, we've got Jerry Nadeau and Jimmy Johnson, Row 10, Hermie Sadler, Jeremy Mayfield. Jamie McMurray, Mike Skinner will be making up row number 11. Followed in row number 12 by Casey Mears and Daytona 500 winner Kevin Harvick. Joe Nemechek, Tony Stewart making up row 13. Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth in row 14. Rounding out the top 30, we've got Steve Park and Kevin Grubb making up row number 15. In row 16, Kevin LePage, who led the most laps at Atlanta, believe it or not, and Terry Labonte starting in 32nd. Kyle Petty, Christian Fittipaldi will make up row 17 and 33rd and 34th. Rusty Wallace with a much further back starting position than what he had at Atlanta in row 18 on the inside, and on the outside of him, Jeff Burton in the 99. Brett Bodine, Ward Burton, 2002 Daytona 500 winner, starting 37th and 38th. Rounding up to the top 40 in row number 20, Jack Sprague and Stanton Barrett. Jeff Green, Ken Schrader will make up row 21. Followed by, last but not least, David Green will be starting from the rear of the field. Ethan, welcome to the stream. Also, we'll get ready here for this one. 500 miles at Texas Motor Speedway. 334 laps of racing. We'll see if they make it all the way through it today. Green flag in the air, and we are underway. You saw a lot of aggressive racing in the first 25 laps of the race earlier at Atlanta. It's like Ricky Rudd and Greg Biffle kind of sitting back on the initial start there. Biffle slides up the racetrack a little bit, gets back down to the bottom. Car in practice and qualifying a little loose off of turn 4, so we'll have to watch that going forward throughout the course of the day today. But one lap already in the books, and Ryan Newman will lead the opening lap of the race. And with Mark Martin starting up inside the top 4 today, that is huge. Knowing that Mark Martin's coming off that win at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and you see Biffle now trying to claw back into it. The back bumper of Michael Waltrip. Trying to get around Kenny Wallace here. Biffle had to lift in the center of the corner. The car started to drift up the racetrack. Gets a good drive off. Stays side by side with Kenny Wallace down the back straightaway and into turn 3. Oh, contact! Man, oh man! Into the wall. Biffle just got hooked on the 23 of Kenny Wallace, and Wallace is in the air off of turn 4. There's a huge crash going down the front stretch. Oh my goodness! Retaliation from Kenny Wallace brings out the first caution of the day. A horrific crash. Heavy impact for multiple drivers in that accident, and Kenny Wallace trying to ruin Greg Biffle's day. Look at that damage on the back of the 16. Just a couple laps into the race, you hate to see that. And already going to make his way down to pit road. This could be the makings of a long afternoon for the rookie. I was trying so hard not to laugh at the fact that the game, the way it glitched Kenny Wallace's crash, and he just was glitching out in the air, torpedoing over at least a dozen cars. It was such a video game accident, but a hard crash nonetheless. And there you see Kenny Wallace, who also makes his way to pit road, repairing significant damage. I don't even know how Kenny Wallace is still in this race. Greg Biffle, again, he took a huge shot there. A lot of drivers stayed on the racetrack. We might have some debris cautions to follow here before long. But the green flag is going to be back in the air, and we don't know how much speed the 16 cars lost. He just got hooked on the 23 of Wallace off of turn 2. They made contact. And then coming off of turn 4, Wallace decided to get payback. And Biffle kind of lagging back on the restart here, assuming that there will be some debris cautions. Not going to race hard for the next couple laps at least, and I'm sure he is Not too thrilled with what he and Kenny Wallace have endured over the last couple laps under green, but that's going to make it really hard for those two to pass each other the rest of the day going forward. Biffle trying to work whatever draft he can off of Wallace. I'll tell you what, the rival indicator in this game, I did not think he was that mad at me, and I didn't think that was going to happen. So that kind of scared that scared me as soon as he made contact. That was a jump scare there. I don't know how I kept the call without just completely going all over the place, but we somehow are still in the race. Again, patience has to be the key. Man, you see that car really getting loose. Almost got hooked on the 37 of David Green right there. 19 of Jeremy Mayfield on the outside as well. Biffle gonna let him go into turn 3. Mayfield wanted the inside. Biffle will follow him now to try and get by the 26 car. Two races today, 2 hard accidents. Oh, contact there, Mayfield. One's down into the 16 of Biffle. Not sure what that was all about. He might have gotten a large piece of that accident. Maybe thinking it was Biffle's fault. They drive on forward. Biffle going to get right on by Mike Skinner in the 4 now for Morgan McClure Racing. Oh, really wobbly there. Nice thing about this game, you can drive the apron somewhat okay at most tracks, and you won't pay a huge price for it, as long as you don't drive it in real deep down there, of course. Again, not sure exactly how much speed is knocked out of this race car. But they are already side by side and 2 by 2 right in front of him. Wallace, I don't know if he bottomed out there, he made contact with the car in front of him. Biffle got out of the gas. Oh, big loose moment there by Kyle Petty. That checked up him, and I believe it was Brett Bodine. Biffle's able to get the run. A little contact there with Kenny Wallace, and more contact as Wallace tries to retaliate again. Center of the corner. That was another dangerous spot, but Biffle finally gets on by. You can tell he's faster than some of these guys down here now. Hermie Sadler making heavy contact, and Biffle's just not able to get away from these guys right now as he is getting beaten around like crazy. Oh, and Wallace catches him going into turn 3. Big save, and Biffle's just in a sandwich between a couple of rivals here all of a sudden. Not quite sure why Jeremy Mayfield or Hermie Sadler might be upset, other than the fact they might have been involved in that caution. Surprised there was no debris caution at all either. It seemed like there were a lot of cars that got big pieces of that accident. Some pretty hard hits. Again, I mean, Biffle needs to make it to the end of the race. He dropped from tied for the lead in points, second virtually, because Kevin Harvick had the tiebreaker after winning the Daytona 500. Biffle gets blocked off there by Kevin LePage now. Biffle being extra patient getting around these guys. But much like Atlanta, you're seeing a lot of blocks being thrown in the early going of the race. Really sideways there off of turn 4. It is so hard to run side by side through the front stretch here. Another shot by Hermie Sadler. I think he ended up getting in the wall after that contact. Biffle hangs on to it again. At least he's got no more rivals around him now, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But my goodness, what a Crazy start to this race today, less than 20 laps in. And again, this has the makings for a long afternoon for Greg Biffle. Kevin LePage trying to throw the block. Biffle, man, he went into the corner really flat. Contact with LePage now, and he's trying to get away from him. LePage threw a block going into turn 3, and Biffle entered the corner really flat and had nothing to really do with that. He just obviously entering as flat as he did. He was going to make contact with the 57, but they carry forward. We stay green. We will make sure we alternate through different camera angles throughout the course of the race today, especially not being able to do that with a shortened race at Atlanta. Not sure exactly how far we can go on fuel again at each of these racetracks really on this game, because I don't get a long enough of a practice session to really find that out. The only reason we knew for the Daytona 500 is because we ran the dual race before that, so we had to make at least one stop. So we had an idea of how far we could run on fuel. But yeah, for the rest of the races, it's going to be a new challenge here with this game. Again, I plan on running 2 seasons for Thunder 04, then 2 seasons 05, 06, and so on, and work our way back up, along with obviously keeping up with the current game at the time, which would be NASCAR Heat 5 as well. We're doing 2 seasons there. Entered into the corner flat again. It drifts up the track. A little bit of contact there with Casey Mears, but he's not too upset with it. Biffle's able to stay to his inside. It is... Oh! Problems now. Rusty Wallace is up in smoke. Going off into turn 1, diving to the apron, and Rusty Wallace with major problems. He led a decent amount of laps at Atlanta. Not a good qualifying effort today. Had himself outside the top 25, and he'll be out of the race early on with an engine blown. And at least that gives more room for Biffle to race out in front. Decent amount of clean air out ahead. Wallace still trying to make his way to pit road as he's kind of coasting it in the middle of turns 3 and 4 now, but he's well on the apron, so we'll stay green. One thing with this game compared to NASCAR Heat 5, they don't throw cautions for engine failures unless... Really, the only time they throw a caution is if a car gets completely sideways. You saw a lot of clean racing in the Daytona 500 for the most part. Aggressive at the end of the race because everybody's, going for the win, of course. But compared to these second 2 races afterwards, I'm very surprised at how aggressive everyone has been going. Much like Atlanta, barely have to get out of the gas in the corners here. You have to get out a little bit more than Atlanta Motor Speedway on this game. This track is a little bit faster, too. And now we have a caution. Not sure who it's on. That might be the debris caution that we were awaiting. So everybody's going to fight for every spot they can get now as they race back to the caution flag. Slides it into turns 3 and 4, trying to get around Tony Stewart. Maybe even Elliott Sadler. Can he get a couple spots here? And this could change the course of the pit strategy. 24th across the line. Second caution of the race today. This one for debris. And it comes off of Hermie Sadler's 02 car, it looks like. And that will be our second caution. Tyler Burback, welcome to the stream. Was there Sunoco fuel for this race? I think Sunoco is the fuel of NASCAR at this time. Biffle's going to stay out of the pits. He just came to pit road a little bit ago after that first accident, just 3 laps in. So he'll stay out, keep the track position. And there's the points as they run. Just a couple races into the season. Harvick came in with the points lead narrowly over Mark Martin. And both of those two won the first 2 races of the season. So we'll see if we'll go 3 races, 3 different winners here today. Not a good restart there by Biffle. Sadler just blows right around him, and we have seen some struggling restarts for the 16 car It seems like he lags back a little bit. He's able to clear Sadler on corner exit. It seems like from third to fourth gear he's really fast, but first to second, not so much. This looks like he kind of spins the tires on the restart. I'm sure that little bit of damage is not helping as well. Luckily, it's not hurting the handling of the race car. But again, the more restarts we get, although they're single file restarts, they are still treacherous when you get these cars packed together on faster intermediate racetracks like this. Biffle just slides underneath. Oh man, big rear wheel spin off of turn 2. He tried to slide underneath Jeff Green in the 1. Oh my goodness. Accidental contact there. Biffle's just doing all he can here in this race. Already made it further than the Atlanta race, so I guess that's somewhat of a win. He tries to work his way around the 9 there of Bill Elliott. 3 wide, down the back straightaway into turn 3. Oh, that might not have been the wisest decision. Contact Steve Park in the 30 for Richard Childress Racing on the outside. Squeezing on by, back into the top 20. Remember, Biffle qualified in 9th, so he does have speed. And he does have a little bit fresher tires than everybody else because nobody is pitted under the first 2 cautions outside of Kenny Wallace and Biffle. Wallace, I'm sure, hasn't gained nearly as many spots as Biffle. Biffle really gets tight into turn 3 when he's trying to pass another car. It seems like that passing lane has been more in turns 1 and 2 for him, but if he can't clear the car off of turn 2, he has to run in side by side into turn 3. Three wide again. Biffle gets out of the gas. He's going to let Kenseth go. Didn't really work out for him that well the first couple times. Gets the power down on corner exit, though. By getting out of the gas early, he was able to get back into the gas a little bit sooner. That helped his drive off. Now he's underneath Matt Kenseth going into turns 1 and 2. And again, it just seems like Biffle's better at 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. He's got more grip. Corner exit, he's not nearly as loose either. And he's back in the top 15. Again, this car is fast. And it doesn't look like that damage is really taking a lot of speed out of it either. Looking on the outside. Ooh, a little contact there. Back out of the gas now. A bump draft on the back of Jerry Nadeau in the 01. Wow, almost got hung on that left rear. Was able to get the power down, though, and clear Nadeau off of turn 4. Maybe he loosened him up. He didn't make contact. But just getting on that left rear corner panel could have been just enough to keep Nadeau from turning down the track, and Biffle was able to get back to the gas and clear him. And he'll make another pass on Terry Labonte, it looked like, right there as well. Slides up the track. The outside. Decent grip off of turn 4. Not so much down the front stretch, though, and Terry Labonte gets right back by him. Biffle gripped up really well in 1 and 2 that time. Remember, this is the older configuration of Texas Motor Speedway. Man, oh man. Get racy back there just outside the top 10. Oh, almost some contact between Kevin Harvick and Dale Jarrett. Harvick will now be passed by the 16, so Harvick's running outside the top 10 here early. Biffle got around Mark Martin just like he did Jerry Nadeau a couple laps ago. Got right on that left rear, didn't make contact. Kept the 6 car from being able to turn back down the track on corner exit. Oh, a little brush into the wall there. So hard to keep the car straight even on the straightaways on this game, let me tell you. Jarrett with the block. Biffle will just give it up. Oh, Jarrett gets tight. Jarrett washed way up the track. That was the opportunity Biffle needed now to get under him. He was going to be patient, but when he saw Jarrett make the mistake, he had to pounce on it. How did Dale Jarrett keep it off the wall? Biffle drives it in deep into turns 1 and 2, and he's able to get around him. And he should clear him off of turn 2. Yes, he does, for 9. So halfway on gas. Remember, we have had a decent amount of caution laps in here, too. Busch maybe blocking his teammate there off of turn 4. Biffle checked up, let him go. Tires haven't worn out to this point, so hasn't been a lot of tire fall off today. Biffle on the outside of Kurt Busch. He's got a car right in front of him on the outside, though. Oh, man, Biffle way up the track. So is the car in front of him. Oh, no, 3 wide off of turn 4. Contact up high between Ricky Rudd and Kurt Busch. And it allows Biffle to keep the momentum on the bottom to make that 3 wide pass. The contact between the 97 and the 21 really helped Biffle out there. Let's cut the corner a little too deep. Let Michael Waltrip go. Very treacherous. I mean, corner after corner. You have to hit your mark so well in this game. There's so much blocking. You see Michael Waltrip center the corner trying to slide up the track, whether that was intentional or not. Not entirely sure. Oh, man! Biffle loose down the straightaway. Contact with Waltrip, and Biffle gets on by. Not the way you want to do it, especially on a high-speed racetrack like this, but again, it's just so hard to keep the car straight. Parkway intros, welcome to the stream. Cheerios, a.k.a. Cheerios. Welcome. Trying to get around Jimmy Johnson. Going to draft him down the back straightaway. Big pull. But again, turns 1 and 2 seems to be more of his passing corner. He needs to make 3 and 4 that setup corner to get to the inside of a car, much like he did there on Johnson off of turn 4. Oh, man. It's just so loose off of turn 4. That's the problem. Sometimes he gets a good drive off, and sometimes he can't. You just got to let the other car go. Might have been his move. Gets on the outside, maybe a little too high, but Johnson goes up the track as well. Biffle able to get down and actually clear him off of turn 4 there, so that was perfect. Biffle into the top 5. He's about 2 seconds off the race lead. Ooh. Big bobble center of the corner. So Bobby Labonte, Dale Jr. side by side for 3rd. Biffle trying to get up there behind Labonte, perhaps, drafting him down the back straightaway. He just got way tight up the hill, but Jr. ran the outside too. I think those fresher tires, though, by Greg Biffle, again, not much, 7 to 8 lap fresher tires. Every little bit means so much, though, in this game. And that is why you're able to see Biffle drive up through the field. So when everybody will be on equal tires, if we ever have that situation again in the race, which I would assume probably will at some point. We're able to start off turns 3 and 4 really high, cut it down to the bottom. Again, that's where it seems like he's gaining the most ground, as he'll get by Bobby Labonte now for 3rd. And he is closing in on Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon, the 2 drivers who started on the front row today. Reaction to the wreck off of turn 4, lap 3, was the reaction I had on the call. Oh, it was definitely unbelievable. That was a terrible crash. But also, again, I was trying to hold in laughter because of how glitchy the wreck was, and Kenny Wallace was torpedoing in the air. It was a mad glitch. It didn't look that bad until the replay, and I don't know if it was the replay that glitched it out or if that's what it actually looked like. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but that's got to be one of the nastiest accidents I think we have seen on the channel to date, and it doesn't matter what game we have played. Lap 50 already today at Texas. Ooh, big bobble that time. Biffle got in the wall off of turn 2. You can feel the tires starting to slip out on him a little bit more. Kind of felt it going into turn 3 that time as well. And there goes that right front. Starting to get a little worn, so we'll see how that will maybe tighten the car up a little more. Not sure until the left sides maybe get worn out too. I think Jeff Gordon might be faster than Ryan Newman. Newman could be holding him up. Gordon has been closing in a couple laps at a time, and then he kind of sits back and loses them for a lap or so. This configuration a lot easier to pass cars on than maybe the old one. That was a huge run there by Biffle to the back of Gordon. He got right in his draft. Oh man, Biffle just drifted way up the track. Newman gets away a little bit more. For both the 24 and the 16, all three of these guys going for the first win of the season. No playoffs back in 2003. No chase either. Full-on battle of consistency all season long. Good news is it's early enough in the year with that DNF and having a good run at Daytona. We're 19th in points, but we're only 126 off the lead, so it's not as bad as it could be. Just a lot of drivers, though, in between, obviously, 19th in points and the lead, and Gordon is now sole purposely trying to block Biffle. Biffle drives it in deep into the corner. You saw Gordon move up the track just a little bit. Biffle side by side, perhaps into turn 3. Will Gordon shut the door? Yes, he does, barely. Biffle, if it wasn't for him getting on the brakes there, he might have ran right into the back of Gordon. Oh, and he moves him up out of the way just a little bit. Now trying to get under him again. 1 and 2, the passing position on the track for Biffle all day long, and that's where he'll pass Jeff Gordon out for second. Has not led a lap yet today. He's looking for 5 bonus points. Oh, big slide getting into the corner. Carried in maybe a little extra speed trying to draft off of Ryan Newman. With the draft. Turns 1 and 2. Again, that's his passing zone, but he can't stay to the inside of Newman yet. Now, Newman's got the clean air, so that's maybe going to make it a little harder to pass the leader. Clean air not as bad with these Gen 4 cars. I'm surprised Biffle got the car to turn as well as he did there, but Newman tries to shut the door again. Intense battle for the lead. I don't know how they haven't made contact yet. Biffle drives it in deep now into turns 1 and 2. He was able to hang on that left rear corner panel, stay side by side. Greg Biffle off of turn 2 to the lead, clearing Ryan Newman. And Greg Biffle will lead his first lap of the race at lap 58 at the line, finally nabbing those 5 bonus points. For that rough go at Atlanta, that means a lot for him to have such a good early start at Texas. What settings can simulate the downforce for NASCAR Heat 5? I mean, honestly, a lot of the mile and a halves on NASCAR Heat 5, there's actually, you can tell there's more downforce. I feel like it's just so easy to drive a car in NASCAR Heat 4, NASCAR Heat 5, even compared to Heat 3 and Heat 2. Some of that might be the game itself, but I do think it's because the speeds are a little lower in the Cup Series. I feel like I'm able to do a lot more, and that's why you see me race aggressively and make it work. And then when I try to translate it to this game, I can't because there's not as much downforce, so it's a lot harder, a little bit faster too, so obviously that goes into play. So I'm not really sure. And even the 43 there of Christian Fittipaldi. Thought about throwing a block. And one thing, Biffle can pass the lap cars maybe through turns 3 and 4. He'll have to still be a little careful, but he is a lot faster than these guys. How much of a lead he's really opened up already. But remember, because he pitted even before guys like Ryan Newman and everybody else. A little bit different situation here. 2 cautions in the early going of the race today. One for a huge wreck off of turn 4. We saw Kenny Wallace already in the air. Oh my goodness. Heavy block there by the lap traffic. I believe that was Stanton Barrett that almost ended up in the wall off of turn 4. Biffle did get into it a little bit. Drives it on underneath. 37. He's got so much more straightaway speed than these lap cars. At least towards the back of the field. Next race of this NASCAR Thunder 04 season will be at Michigan. Coincidentally, our next race for NASCAR Heat 5 will be at Michigan. So it'd be kind of cool to run those races in the same week. You really get to see the compare and contrast between games in the Cup Series at that racetrack and even the track in general and how it might have changed over the years, 2003 to 2020. I think that'll be pretty cool as well. If you're new to the channel and are watching currently, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We've got these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast on the daily. Having some fun here today with this retro video game. Kind of a throwback Thursday, I guess, if you will, but we'll be doing these races about 2 to 3 times a week. You can expect one more coming out before the weekend. Again, Michigan will be the next race for NASCAR Thunder 2004. So here's another key, too. We've got cars on pit road right now. They're coming into the pits. Start of green flag stops. Biffle can go a little bit longer than these other guys on fuel. Curious position there. Biffle's at least going to get by Kevin LePage pretty easily. Maybe a little more calm for Biffle since he's been in the lead. This guy's pitting before, might be able to gain some of that ground back for a couple laps, and then Biffle will get the fresh tires whenever he comes to pit road. You want to run these runs out as long as we can, especially not knowing how far we can exactly go on fuel at each track in this game. That'd be a... Oh, man! Jeremy Mayfield about took a swing at Biffle off of turn 4. And thought better of it at the last second. And, I mean, he could have clipped that right rear of Biffle, and that would have been disastrous. The tire's starting to get a little worn now. We'll try to get around Robbie Gordon, just not able to do it. Lap 69. Jeff Gordon up to second, but Ryan Newman is on pit road currently as we speak. So Ryan Newman just came into the pits there that time by Robbie Gordon desperate to try and stay in the lead lap if he hasn't pit yet. I don't know if he has or not. But he's doing a pretty good job of blocking Biffle right now. He's not able to let that 16 car get around him. Oh man, almost chopped his nose off there. Ricky Craven coming out of the pits. Biffle on Robbie Gordon's inside now into turn 3. Greg Biffle going to stay out one more lap. So 70 laps complete at the line. Greg Biffle will hit pit road for the second time today, and it'll be the first green flag stop of the day. Now, good thing with me practicing on this game, I kind of have an idea of how to get to pit road. Speed limit's 70 miles per hour for every racetrack on this game, so a little more forgiving than, say, NASCAR Heat 5. But we'll see how Biffle will try to make it onto pit road this time. Using an automatic transmission, by the way, for every racetrack on this game. I know I don't do that in NASCAR Heat, but again, not really worried about shifting on this game. I'm more worried about trying to get the line right, all things considered. More damage will be repaired on this number 16 Ford on pit road as well. Fortnite Cracked, welcome to the stream. Low draft and tire wear. Yeah, that would probably make it more of a handling situation more so than... That'd probably put less downforce into it, honestly. Staying on the inside of the racetrack, seeing these cars just coming out of the pits up ahead of him. Currently in second place. I believe the race leader has not pit yet. We'll see at the line who it is. I think it might be Jimmy Johnson who is leading this race. It is. So Jimmy Johnson leads at Texas. Biffle right behind him. Again, not sure if Johnson has pit yet or not, but he's got lap cars side by side right in front of him. Just gets that inside on that left rear corner panel, but now, again, lap traffic right in front. Oh, man! Johnson leads the lap at the line again. Biffle got loose off in turn 4. It was really hard to hold it. Didn't want to go 3 wide underneath the lap cars. But we know Jeremy Mayfield's not too happy with Biffle right now, and you can almost say the same for Kevin LePage. So Biffle's going to have to be careful getting around these lap cars here. Drives it right back underneath Johnson, side by side for the lead again. See who's going to lead the lap at the line this time. Oh, man, it's going to be Biffle. He made contact there with Johnson. That didn't look pretty. I don't think Johnson's too happy about that either. Slides up in front of the 19 of Mayfield. They desperately work around Kevin LePage. Even Jeff Gordon only 2 seconds off the lead all of a sudden. Lap traffic is not playing any games today at Texas. Davion West, welcome to the stream. Mayfield and LePage are likely battling for position on the racetrack, too. And Jeff Gordon is closing that gap on Johnson. And obviously that would mean Greg Biffle as well. Biffle trying to get around LePage at least, and he does. He's going to drive it off deep into turn 3. Just gets underneath the Jeremy Mayfield, and he'll pass him cleanly off of turn 4. Little slide job there by Biffle, but he finally gets around it. Boy, he was wasting a lot of time. Gordon 1.4 off the lead. He's the guy who's Biffle's watching here, so Gordon was able to cycle ahead of Ryan Newman despite pitting at least one lap after him. Oop. A mistake there, and that's not what Biffle wanted because the 19 of Mayfield's hanging around. Ooh, Biffle got loose, had to lift and let Mayfield go, and again the lap traffic is costing him time. Johnson and Gordon less than a second off the lead. Not having fun with the lap cars right now, and Mayfield is blocking him off in turn 2. Biffle just can't get to the inside. He got around him once. Sad part is he's got to get around him again. Gordon has got around Johnson now for second. 7/10 of a second off the lead. Biffle drove it in deep, but Mayfield was already there to block, trying to hang on to the lead lap. Oh, contact! Biffle's under him. Into turn 3. Oh, maybe a little more contact. Got to be careful, that 19 car. Not the best of friends with the 16 and Biffle right now. Biffle finally gets around him, but he had to go. Gordon is only a half a second back. And more lap traffic now just up ahead. Ken Schrader in the 49 will be the next lap car. Just enough room on the outside. Start the corner high, maybe drifted back to the inside, but Ken Schrader stayed on the bottom, so he wasn't able to really cross him over there like we've seen Biffle do to both lap cars and lead lap cars. And here's Hermie Sadler up ahead. Biffle drives it in deep, just gets to the inside of Ken Schrader. But he had to lift. He drove it in a little too deep, and he couldn't get around him. And here comes Jeff Gordon for the lead. We have a battle between Biffle and Gordon. Here at Texas, Biffle washes up the track. Lap car right in front of him. Schrader cuts down. Biffle trying to get away. Top 4 within a second. Newman's back up to 3rd. Johnson back to 4th. I'm wondering how Jimmy gained so much ground on pit road. A very fast stop. He obviously is pitted with how long he stayed out on the track now. And we thought those first lap cars were tough to pass. Wait until Biffle tries to get around Hermie Sadler. And again, he's got to try to make quick work of him because Jeff Gordon is right on his tail. Into turns 1 and... Oh, contact. Oh, Sadler takes a swing. Oh, Biffle got around him one way or another. Gordon is able to win back to the gas, though. Biffle trying to hang on, but Gordon drives it in deep into turn 3, and they're side by side for the lead. And Jeff Gordon to the lead off of turn 4 for the first time today. And Ryan Newman now less than a second off the lead. The top 3 going at it here in Texas. Again, all 3 of these guys have not won a race yet this year. And we'll see if Gordon can maybe drive away. That lap traffic hurt Biffle big time. He had a 2-second lead on Gordon, and then Gordon just slowly reeled him in. As well as Newman and Johnson, but Johnson's kind of losing spots in the process, and that's the opportunity there. Biffle overdrove the corner. Gordon moved up the track. Biffle drove it in too deep. And stay in the draft to the 24. Keep up with him. He doesn't want Ryan Newman to get around him now for second. Very interesting and fun race in the early going here today at Texas Motor Speedway. After an ugly start to the race, things have fizzled out. We had 2 cautions in the first 30 laps, but over a 50-lap green flag run. And there's Kenny Wallace now just up ahead. He was side by side with another lap car down the front stretch. That could hold up Jeff Gordon. But remember the run-in on lap 3 between Biffle and Wallace. Biffle drove it in deep, but he couldn't get there. They got to try to block Gordon. think Gordon got stuck behind him. Biffle couldn't get off of turn 2 that well. Ooh, man, right in line behind the 24. Big move. That could have been the opportunity he needed, but Biffle's just got to worry about getting around Kenny Wallace as quickly as he can. He drives it in deep on the bottom, and he clears him off of turn 2. And that's what Biffle was really worried about, was trying to get by Kenny Wallace, but he was able to get by him there. Gordon goes high into turn 3. Biffle actually stuck 3 and 4 really well that time on the inside. And they're side by side for the lead again now off of turn 4. Gordon leads the lap. This is Biffle's best corner though, 1 and 2. He's able to drive it in even deeper. Can he clear him off of turn 2? Yes, he does. And now Ryan Newman going for second place on Jeff Gordon after Biffle has gotten around him for the lead. Biffle slides back up the track. Gordon trying to keep it pinned to the bottom, but he can't quite get under him. Man, Biffle driving that car loose. This is a great battle for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. Nearly 100 laps in. Back and forth at Texas Motor Speedway. Gordon and Newman both started off a little bit higher there, maybe trying to get a run off of turn 4 on Biffle. Biffle got a little loose off of turn 4 again there. As the tires wear out, he gets a little looser and a little looser. These guys have about 20 laps on their tires right now. So if we stay green to the next pit stops, this is where Biffle will be able to gauge exactly how far he can go on fuel. He pitted at lap 71, which was a couple laps after everybody else, about 2 to 3 laps after. With no lap traffic in the near and immediate future as well for the leaders, I think this is going to allow Biffle to kind of drive away now. Remember that lap traffic costed Biffle's 2-second lead. So now he's starting to widen that gap out a little more. Tires are starting to even out for these guys. And Biffle's car gets a little bit looser over the course of the run, but not that bad in the grand scheme of things. By the way, I don't have the camera up because I'm not able to use my PlayStation 4 camera. With this, obviously there's no way to use it with the PS2, and then with the OBS, I couldn't figure it out, on the fly today. So I might I've been in the works of probably getting another camera anyway, kind of help for other videos on the channel, but that is why you don't see a camera for both this race and the Atlanta race, but you'll be seeing it in the near future for these Thunder 04 streams as well. Can alternate to the different camera angles for the first time today. Ooh, Biffle in the wall. Couple of times there down the front stretch. Ryan Newman has gotten around Jeff Gordon, by the way, for second that last lap, so maybe Ryan Newman has a little bit quicker car. Maybe he might be able to make a run after Greg Biffle. Biffle slides way up the track. Boy, he had to get way out of the gas there, and here comes Newman with a head of steam. Boy, he caught him quick. You stay hooked to that white line. And Newman's going to get right underneath Biffle here. Off of turn 4. Oh, a little contact as they were side by side for the lead off of turn 4. Well, that widens the gap out a little bit. I don't think that's exactly what he wanted, but tap the brakes and go. Get into the corner. Again, you don't have to let off too much. Again, a little more usage of the brakes here just because it's a little bit higher speed track than what we were at Atlanta, but man. Yes, I did advance to the Championship 4 on NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. Joshua White said I won at Texas, so that helped out. A bit of a bottom out there. Oh. Bit of a moment there again. It has not been a clean race for Greg Biffle by any means, but really needs to hit his marks here. Just stay consistent. Again, make it to the end of the race. He's about a third of the way through it already. Really long green flag run. Just over 70 laps into this green flag run now. Could have very well seen that huge accident at the beginning of the race, too, if you think about it. I mean, double file restarts, and then every other caution after that is just single file, so you're not as packed together as what you would be on the initial start of the race. And again, another touch off the wall off of turn 4 there for Biffle and his team, allowing Ryan Newman to reel in and more. He's less than 7 tenths of a second off the lead. A one-lap car in the picture up here, and then after that, a little bit more of a gap before the next lap car. About halfway through the fuel run here. Biffle last pitted about 33 laps ago. So maybe he can run about 66 laps or so on fuel. Robbie Gordon's been a little tough to pass here today, and saw that right before Biffle came to pit road. He was trying to get around Robbie Gordon for a little bit. So get around him right there. Luckily, he was able to get around Robbie. Again, really quick. Ryan Newman took a... Man, he still hasn't gotten around him. He's been trying to get around Robbie Gordon about a lap and a half now. And helped Biffle widen out the gap a little more because Newman was just less than 7 tenths of a second off the lead about 2 to 3 laps ago. And now Biffle's widened that gap out about 4 tenths of a second over the last couple laps. Big moment there for Biffle getting into 1 and 2. Kind of had to lock it down just a tad bit. Again, 7 people watching currently. Thanks for everybody tuning in here on a Thursday evening. Samsung Radio Shack 500 at Texas Motor Speedway for NASCAR Thunder 2004. Greg Biffle leads right now. He's got about 30 to 40 laps in this race. Ryan Newman started on the pole, led pretty much the first 50 laps or so, giving the lead away to Greg Biffle, and then Jeff Gordon was able to take the lead a little bit, battled back and forth with Biffle through the lap traffic after the green flag pit stops. Things have really kind of filed out. I'm very surprised the lap traffic thinned out as quickly as it did. And that has really allowed Biffle to kind of slowly pull back away again. Probably the more quiet moment of the race, but you can see some heavy lap traffic forming now down the front stretch as Biffle just comes off of turn 4. So obviously we knew the lap traffic wasn't done today. A calm moment. He was able to pull ahead a little more. That right front's starting to get a little worn now on the 16 car. Obviously he'll repair more damage when he comes to pit road again once the time comes. Just got that car to drive right underneath Mike Skinner and have that position. Tough right now being stuck behind David Green, Christian Fittipaldi. Oh, Fittipaldi, it looked like he might have been going low, not to pinch Biffle, but I think he was going to try to drive underneath David Reagan. He wasn't expecting Biffle to dive it in that deep, and again, you're seeing lap traffic cost Biffle a little bit of time. Right on the 43 car. That was much like what happened in 1 and 2 back on lap 2 with Kenny Wallace. The difference is he kind of shot into David Green. And luckily David Green was there. Otherwise, it would have been another hard hit into the wall for that 16 team today. Ryan Newman, he's gained 7/10 of a... Oh, man, another moment there. But about 7/10 of a second has been gained for Ryan Newman. Stanton Barrett looking to make a move. Couldn't do it there. Biffle looking to the outside off of turn 4. Hasn't really done that much today as he about got squeezed. Stanton Barrett did not give him a lot of room at all. These lap cars in this game, I'll tell you, I mean, they are super aggressive. We have seen how many times it has costed Greg Biffle time and time again today. Trying to get a run. Runs out of room, though. Maybe helps Stanton Barrett get by the 26. And that's going to work. Get around one of them. Making high, cutting to the inside now, going into turn 1. He entered in flat. Oh my goodness. Hung up on the 60 of Stanton Barrett. At least he cleared him and more open space ahead, but again, not pretty. Barrett's still hanging in there on the outside. Now the 26 is going to get under him. Biffle luckily has enough horsepower. He's able to pull away from him. I'm feeling a lot of these races on this video game are going to be passes like that. Again, not intentional by any means. It slows me down so much, but obviously at risk of putting ourselves in a big accident again, too. We don't need that time and time again. But that's just the nature. That is NASCAR Thunder 2004. So Biffle last pit at lap 71. It has been 50 laps since that pit stop. Today's Cup Series, these cars can go about 58 to 62 laps on fuel at Texas Motor Speedway. It's a little interesting, though, to judge it because you're running full throttle around the track. You would think you'd burn more fuel, but they're running slower speeds as well. So I would think it kind of evens out as far as the fuel economy goes. I could be wrong on that, but it seems like the fuel windows haven't really changed much from the 750 package to the 550, and that's probably why on these intermediate racetracks. Big dive. Luckily, he cleared Kyle Petty there. Yeah, I don't know if the low draft, high tire wear would make it seem more realistic. I feel like it would probably be the polar opposite. I just feel like more draft because, I mean, you do see guys be able to use the draft really well on these, mile and a halfs and intermediate racetracks with the current package. And you can pass in the pack, it's just you can't really pass the leader. Or it's harder to pass the leader. Because they got the clean air, but anybody behind the leader's got dirty air, so it's kind of fair game. It's the way I look at it, so I mean, lowering that tire wear, it's going to make the cars a little more slick, so it might not seem like there's more downforce on it. Wow. I don't know how Biffle didn't hit the wall off of turn 4 trying to get around Joe Nemechek on the outside, but he was able to do it. A heck of a run, I'll tell you that. I'll call Kevin LePage again. See if he can get around LePage on the outside too. He does. Maybe Biffle start to use the outside to get around the lap cars. It's worked for him 2 laps in a row. They were much slower lap cars, obviously, but Biffle would love to lead the most laps today, too. Get an extra 5 bonus points compared to what he already has leading laps. Up to this point, he's really close on leading the most with Ryan Newman. I think he has led the most to this point. It's close again. Newman led for a while at the beginning of the race before Biffle took the lead. Biffle did not take the lead until lap 58, so, I mean, that was after starting 9th, but as he's gotten to the lead, it's really helped. See more green flag pit stops going on with the leaders right now, too. And we'll see how far Biffle can stretch it on fuel. Newman hasn't pit yet. Jeff Gordon has it. Oh, Biffle gets right into the back of Kenny Schrader there. Just got hung up right on him. Almost 200 laps to go at this point in the race. Right rear. Starting to get pretty worn. Couldn't get the grip in the race car to drive under him down the straightaway, but he does drive it in deep enough to get around him in the corner. Oh boy. Yeah, this might not be pretty. Hermie Sadler and Kenny Walls have had run-ins with Greg Biffle already today. Now we're almost at the end of this pit sequence here. Jerry Nadeau not going to get around Greg Biffle. I almost called him Ryan Blaney a second time today. Yeah, this is tough. I mean, he's way faster than these guys, but these rivals are blocking him like crazy. Maybe able to use a pick here. Oh, Wallace took a shot at Biffle. That slowed him up. Oh, Hermie Sadler catches him now in the center of the corner. Biffle locks it down. Sadler's still there. Takes another shot at him. My goodness. It's sketchy every time you get right beside these rivals in this game. Feel it S, welcome to the stream. Seven-second lead on Newman. I'm surprised Newman and those guys haven't hit pit road yet either. I don't think Biffle can run as far as these guys can on fuel. Maybe he can. He doesn't want to run out, but these guys have been out for a little bit of a while here. Greg Biffle's gone quite a ways on fuel up to this point. Maybe 63 laps at the line this time, so he is about nearing the end of that pit window. I think he's going to pit this time. But now Ryan Newman is on pit road. I believe Jeff Gordon was too. So Newman and Gordon finally hit the pits 1 lap earlier than Biffle. They pitted 2 to 3 laps earlier than Biffle earlier in the race here. So Greg's going to take it 1 more lap. It'll be 64 laps on this fuel run. Trying to lead as many laps as he can. And Greg Biffle will come to pit road this time by. It'll be a 4-tire stop. Mari P, welcome to the stream. So 4-tire stop coming. Oh, Johnny Benson is on the inside. Biffle's got to let him go before diving it onto pit road, so that might have cost him a little bit of time. Very easy getting into the pits there. Again, he had to let Johnny Benson go. 4 fresh tires, no adjustments being made. Gabe Delgado, welcome to the stream as well. Yeah, playing as the Biff for this season. He was my favorite driver growing up as a kid. I was kind of a Roush fan, but I took on to him as being my favorite when I was younger. That National Guard paint scheme brings back memories. The red, white, and blue. I played a lot of NASCAR 07, so it was always that and his subway paint scheme. And our small town that I live in, we don't have many restaurants, like a local bar, that's about it. But we do have a Subway, so that was always kind of like, oh, he drives a Subway car. But for that short amount of time, obviously Carl Edwards drove it at some point in time later on. Rush's tenure. So here we go. Biffle. Again, Jimmy Johnson's pit crew has been on it. Biffle. His crew's been a little bit slower. You see Ryan Newman getting around him as well. Ricky Rudd, I'm not sure if that's for position or not. believe it is. I don't know who has all hit pit road and who hasn't. So Biffle went 64 laps on fuel in that last run. So that's about the fuel tank here. About 62 to 66 laps is what it looks like. But we can run on fuel in today's race. Biffle trying to get around Ricky Rudd. 4th position here. Oh, he hasn't cleared Rudd yet. They almost made contact. That was a close call. If it wasn't for fresh tires, that'd be it. Oh, problems. Jeremy Mayfield on the apron has blew an engine. He was right in front of Hermie Sadler, who I think was coming out of the pits. Sadler had to check up. They stayed green. Nobody ran into anybody, luckily. Yeah, there's NASCAR Thunder 2004, but it's the 2003 Winston Cup season is what it would take place as. Oh my gosh. I looked away. I'm lucky I didn't wreck there. I looked away at the chat there in the center of the corner. I can't do that as much on this game. Look at how much time that costed Biffle. Losing Ryan Newman by quite a bit. This last lap, Jeff Gordon now looking underneath Ricky Rudd for position. Gordon looking fast all of a sudden. Biffle just doesn't look that strong on the opening run as Gordon's trying to get around him. Biffle gave him a lane down there, but Gordon couldn't get back to the gas as quick as Greg Biffle did, and Biffle's able to stay in front of him for now. Biffle's driving this car hard. Don't want to overdrive it. Oh, wow, he almost slid up into the wall. Right into the gray area off of turn 2. And Gordon's going to get under him. It was only a matter of time there. Ricky Rudd might be able to get back around Gordon as well. Everybody on pretty much equal tires right now. Next set of pit stops should be right around lap 200 or so in this race. If we stay green. Johnson's starting to slow up a little bit. I just don't think he's as fast. His pit crew is definitely on it today, but Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, they've all been faster than him. See Gordon and Biffle catching up to him now. Biffle's slowly starting to get away from Ricky Rudd. I'm kind of starting to get used to this game. It feels like getting off the gas. I don't know if it's my controller or what it is, but it feels like getting off the gas and getting on the brakes is a little delayed. I almost have to do it a little earlier before I actually start turning because that kind of loosens the car just enough. I get a good drive in, but I feel like I tend to overdrive the corner like a little too deep at times and in this game. I don't know why it just feels delayed. I don't know if it's the graphic. It could be the graphics too, kind of throwing me off. Jeff Gordon was able to get around Jimmy Johnson for 5th on the racetrack that time. Huge amount of lap traffic just up ahead. Biffle trying to get around Jimmy. He's a little bit better in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. So again, he's got to be able to set Johnson up through 3 and 4 so he can get around him in turns 1 and 2. Look at that lap traffic side by side right in front of Jeff Gordon. Big run here by Biffle, trying to cross over. He got on the brakes really early that time, drove the car underneath Jimmy Johnson, and they're side by side now for 6th off of turn 2. Dale Jr. in the mix up here as well. Haven't really seen him up towards the front of the field today. Unless he's about to go a lap down, that could be the case. Tony Stewart's a lot of the top 5, all kind of jam-packed together. My bad, that's not Tony Stewart, it's Brett Bodine, the other Joe Gibbs racing car. But oh man, Wallace took a shot at Biffle again. And another one. And Wallace got in the wall there off of turn 2. Johnson now all over the back of Biffle, and that's going to allow him to get underneath him now. Lap traffic has been so difficult, and Biffle could not hold the outside off of turn 4. Jimmy will get back around him. Biffle's about 4 seconds off the lead. His crew has just not been on it with fast stops at all today. Biffle drives it in deep into 3 and 4. He hasn't been able to do that much today. Jimmy tried to block the run on the inside, and that really loosened him up because Biffle got right to the rear bumper. Slide job off the exit of 4, barely slides in front of him. And again, Biffle's up to 6th. He needs to get away from Johnson before they get into the lap traffic, because it could be a big factor here in this race. Has been up to this point, and I'm sure will be going forward. One thing with this game and the track map, you can see where the leader is in comparison to you on the racetrack, and obviously the interval is lap after lap, but you can't tell exactly who the leader is. Once we get the Chase for the Cup 2005, that will not be the case. I know the track map on that game has your number and the leader's number, in fact, on there, so you can at least tell who the leader is. I'd have to assume it's Ryan Newman, but I'm not entirely sure. Some of these guys could be short pitting like Jimmy Johnson too, that he has such fast stops. It's the combination of the fast stops and short pitting that he's able to gain a little bit of track position. But as we get closer to the end of this race, we'll be able to dictate, if this will be a fuel mileage race or not, and if that strategy will actually work out. Each pack of lap cars. Biffle's able to run down Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr. Here is Ryan Newman up here as well. Gordon got caught right behind Elliott Sadler. Biffle with the run. Gordon had to check up. Biffle checked up. Biffle's right behind him. He's really good in 1 and 2, and he's showing it again as he gets to the inside of the 24. And to draft off Dale Jr. down the back straightaway, trying to keep up with Gordon. Oh, slid up right into him. A little tighter corner there in 3 and 4 on entry, but he's still got to get around him. Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, caught in lap traffic. Biffle drove it in deep. Gets underneath Newman. Gets underneath Jr., who are both caught behind Jamie McMurray and I believe Kyle Petty are the lap cars. And now McMurray goes low. This is going to be interesting to see. Well, great crossover there. Biffle went to fake high. Got underneath McMurray on corner exit. Now trying to get around Kyle Petty going into turn 1. He's already underneath him. So Greg Biffle in 3rd. Ooh, a little bobble there. Slid up in front of Petty. Ryan Newman now trying to follow. Down to Jeff. Welcome to the stream. Oh, man. Another close call. Biffle almost got in the wall again, but now Biffle was able to catch those guys in the lap traffic, and he is catching Bobby Labonte, who leads this race slowly. Again, I think he's on a little older tires, and that's why he was able to get a quicker stop than Gordon Newman and Biffle. Now Gordon is underneath Newman for fourth. Biffle barely gets on by Kenny Schrader. I mean, Biffle's slowly closing in on the lead. Tony Stewart's up in second, so Joe Gibbs racing 1-2 on the racetrack. Defending champ Tony Stewart 2002. Coming into this season. Sadia, welcome to the stream. Ooh, Biffle overdrives 3 and 4. Gordon is going to just get under him off the exit of the corner. Biffle got a little loose trying to catch the car. Gordon drove right back underneath him again. Biffle's very aggressive in turns 1 and 2. And having a knack as this race goes on, more and more comfortable driving it in deep into 1 and 2. Man, look at that block by Gordon for third. These guys are going at it, sliding up the track. Both cars. It's a battle hard for third. They're not really gaining on the top 2 anymore. They were for a little bit. Biffle cuts right back underneath them into turns 1 and 2. Drove it in deep, almost slid into him, almost made contact. Both cars checked up and were on the brakes. Gordon beats Biffle back to the gas and holds on again. And that brings Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, back into the picture. Dang. Saw a great battle for the lead with Gordon and Biffle earlier. Now the battle for third is getting pretty intense. Biffle gonna get right underneath him, but he can't stay there. Gordon, again, it just seems like he's better in 3 and 4, and Biffle's a little bit better in 1 and 2, but Gordon started off really high. Biffle tries to slide up in front of him. Oh, might have been a little contact. Gordon's in the wall. Gordon's in the wall off of turn 2. There was contact. A very slight bit of it. Wow. Well, again, it wasn't pretty. 3.5 seconds off the lead now. And Biffle's going to try to have his eyes set for both Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte now. Trying to get around Casey Mears. He's kind of struggling here. Just doesn't seem like Biffle's as good on corner exits as well as he was at the beginning of the race. I think the more damage he gets with these other drivers is just slowly over time slowing that car down. Just enough. He's not able to get the power down, although it might look like he's getting the power down. In reality, it just really isn't. Ooh. These guys have about 30 laps on their tires. They're about halfway through the run. Biffle starts way up the track there again in 3 and 4. We saw earlier in the race he kind of started up in that middle lane and kind of dove off in the center of the corner when nobody was around him. It seemed like he was actually gaining time that way. Haven't seen him do it much in the middle portion of the race, but Just gets underneath of Joe Nemechek, tapping the brakes, getting into the corner, and leads him back to the gas. .3 back. Tony Stewart's not really gaining any time on Bobby Labonte at all either. But yeah, about halfway through the run. Ooh boy. Big wiggle there from the 16. Couldn't catch it, got in the wall. He almost went around. Joe Nemechek back to his outside. Dale Jr. is able to get around Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon in the last couple laps. This goes right back up on Biffle. That one little mistake. Biffle's got a faster car at this point. The run, he just can't hold on to the race car. Biffle had a great run. Mike Skinner wasn't quite able to block it there. See, we're alternating through the different camera angles. Second time in the race today. Oh, contact! Man, he drove it in deep there on Stanton Barrett. Luckily, he had him cleared on corner exit still, despite the contact. Almost put it in the wall. It almost feels like this game, at least on the 2.5 miles I've done, this one more so than at Atlanta earlier today. Granted, we haven't had long, we only made it 25 laps into that race, but it almost feels like driving a sprint car. A lot of right to left action going on. Started way up the track there. Oh, man, he just kept sliding. He had no choice but to get in the wall again there. And again, here comes Junior. And, I mean, Biffle gains that time onto Tony Stewart, gets to his back bumper, not really within striking distance to pass him, but then something like that happens, and, I mean, he's just really starting to slide up the track. A little more in turns 3 and 4, and he's not able to get the car to cut in the center. Yeah, Biffle was only 2 seconds off the lead when he caught Tony Stewart the a lot more time in this game and give you a lot more damage than, say, NASCAR Heat 5. Ooh, boy. Way out of the gas. Almost get right into the back of the 26. Kevin Grubb, the rookie, another fellow rookie. Biffle driving way down the track. Grubb pinches him, and Biffle couldn't get around him again there. Of course, these guys battling for the Rookie of the Year, but man. Oh, wow, Biffle got loose off of turn 4. I guess I kind of made up for the block that Grubb made going into turn 3. Biffle hasn't cleared him yet going into 1, and he washes back up the track. Oh, man. Another loose moment. Finally clears him down the back straightaway. 3.6 off the lead. Biffle's just not looked as fast over this run compared to the first 2 fuel runs today. Really been a big difference maker. Oh man, Skady getting into turn 1 that time. Biffle's pushing hard. He wants to get right back to Tony Stewart again. Much like the first 2 sets of green flag stops, Biffle wants to get to the lead before more green flag pit stops if we stay green long enough. I don't know how Biffle got to the outside of Jack Sprague there, but might work. Been getting a little loose running that top side. Unlike earlier, big run on Tony Stewart to the bottom into turn 3. Not his passing lane, but he slides up right in front of him. Quick work of Tony Stewart that time to move Biffle back up to second place. 2.5 seconds off the lead. I set now on Bobby Labonte. Oh boy. Oh man, big moment. With a big run there on Christian Fittipaldi, and he's easily going to clear him off of turn 4. Cutting back down to the bottom. I don't believe there's another lap car in between the top 2. So Biffle can now really start to reel that gap in. He's faster on the longer run, and he's got a little bit fresher tires. That might have equaled out a little bit more over the course of the run. Tough to tell for sure. Biffle gained a ton of time that last lap. Looking to do it again. There is now 1 lap car. About a quarter of a straightaway ahead of Bobby Labonte. He'll probably catch him next lap. We saw this during the last green flag run. Biffle didn't have any traffic around him, and he's able to really run clean laps. His car handles well when he's by himself, but when he's by other cars, it's a little different. He gained 0.4 of a second that last lap. He is so much faster than Bobby Labonte, and I think Labonte got caught behind the lap car as well. Late into the run. Oh, he overdrove the corner. Another moment going into turn 3. I mean, there's moments every other lap, it seems like. Multiple cars every lap, and now less than a second off the lead. Even after that moment into turn 3, he still gained a little over 1/10 of a second, maybe 1/10.5 or so. Problem is, that lap car is Hermie Sadler, and again, we have seen the run-ins with Biffle and Hermie Sadler, that is, here today. Bobby Labonte, though, right in front of Hermie. Biffle right in line behind him. Not that far off the lead. Sneaks to the inside. Sadler hits him. Biffle back up the track. Hit him right back. Oh, that might not work out. Oh, and there's a swing. Sadler. Well, that's going to cost Biffle a little bit more time. I don't think those two are appreciating each other over the course of the race today. 0.4 of a second back now. Biffle going for the lead. Tires are worn out. Oh, and he slides into the wall off of turn 2. And he really wants to lead before they pit. Big draft there off of Terry Labonte. One car coming to pit road that time. Big run on Labonte down the front stretch. He's going to get on by him really easily. He's going to clear him before they get into turn 1. Bobby Labonte running high, trying to hold on to the lead. Biffle's all the way up there, trying to cut it to the inside. There's a caution. Debris on the racetrack. I'm not sure who that came from. It might have been from Greg Biffle's car. And they're racing back to the line for the lead. Oh, a little bump, a little run off of turn 4. Biffle. Man, this is going to be a drag race back to the line. Biffle by inches will have the lead under the caution. I'm not sure. Yeah, that came off of Biffle's car. I don't know what part of the car that was, but it's our third caution of the day. It's for debris. It's likely ensued after that contact with Hermie Sadler, but we had a very long green flag run, about 160 lap green flag run. We were about to get into green flag stops. Biffle will hit pit road. Oh, wow, we have a lot of the leaders staying out here. I'm quite surprised. 20.631. And no adjustments made, but definitely some damage repair coming up out of the 16 team. I'm very surprised nobody else hit pit road under that caution. We were under 20 laps away from our next green flag stop, but maybe these guys think that they don't have to take an extra stop getting into this one. You see problems getting that right front tire on the race car there, right about where the debris had come out on the 16 car. Slow pit stop, but nobody else on pit road. Well, I guess Jimmy Johnson. So that's interesting. Jimmy Johnson hit pit road. Biffle wins the race off. Those are the only two cars to hit the pits, and they will be restarting at the back, but on fresh tires. So here we go. Johnson and Biffle staying on equal pit strategy. Another restart, first time in a while. Oh, big check up there off of turn 2. Johnson and a couple other lap cars. Biffle 3 wide into the corner. I mean, look. Oh, no. Stan Barrett catches Biffle. Biffle's in the wall hard. Bill Elliott is in the wall hard. Oh, my goodness. Stanton Barrett, I don't know if he was trying to come to pit road or just got loose, but they were 3 wide going off into turn 3. Biffle had fresher tires, was trying to slide under it, and there we go. He had some parts dragging there, and we're going to have another caution for debris. And some drivers just hit pit road there. That is really going to make a different strategy, and Biffle will have to likely come down into pit road, top off on fuel, and repair that damage again. So another string of cautions here midway through the race. That debris fell out right in front of Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott was just the innocent bystander and all that. And that aftermath, a lap and a half after the contact between Stanton Barrett and Greg Biffle. Dangers of having to come from the back of the pack, and that, we'll see if we'll have more cars hit pit road here. They did not pit under the prior caution. Let's see if they'll pit under this caution. We know Jimmy Johnson will probably stay out. Oh, I'm surprised everybody's staying out. Some drivers did make it onto pit road, and that caution actually played out perfect for him. And he might as well put 4 fresh tires back on the car as well. So 4th caution of the race, 4 debris. More damage ensued after Stanton Barrett made contact in the center of 3 and 4 on the opening lap of the last restart with Greg Biffle. They shot it in the wall. Bill Elliott, innocent bystander, in the wall as well. And the debris caution came out off the back of Biffle's car a lap and a half after the fact. And I don't know. We had cars coming to pit road there. Stanton Barrett might have been trying to go to pit road and ran right into Biffle. It was really tough to tell. We are almost 200 laps into the race, and we'll have another restart. Might be another checkup here. Got some guys on fresh tires, some guys on old tires. It is going to be interesting. Going into turn 3 again. Biffle's checking up a little earlier. Oh, we got more cars diving into the pits. Oh, no! David Green goes around. Kevin Grubb goes around. Slams back into Biffle. Biffle couldn't get out of the way. That time we had cars on pit road. Jack Sprague's involved. Man, this is getting ugly. 5th caution of the race. 3 in the last probably dozen laps or so. There's a large amount of cars coming to pit road. And again, right off the restart. I'm not sure why these guys aren't pitting under caution, but trying to pit under green there. Biffle wasn't even trying to pit. He was just trying to get out of the way of everybody checking up. This is just not getting any prettier as we are about 200 laps in to this 500-mile race today, as we have just less than 200 miles still to go. That is now the 5th caution. And Biffle's been caught up in 3 of them, and now everybody's coming into the pits that hasn't already pitted. So Kevin Grubb staying on the track. Johnson on pit road again. So Johnson's topping off on fuel. He probably wants to be on the same strategy as everybody else with all these cautions coming out. And all that track position has been lost by this 16 team with the cautions that have come out here today. 2 for debris, 3 for an accident. Bobby Labonte. Restart as the leader. And we'll have another restart. Lap 202. Man, Dale Jr. lost a lot of spots too. Must have had a bad pit stop himself. Oh, we got caution again. Debris. I believe that came off Bill Elliott's hood. And I guess we'll race back to the caution flag. Man. Ton of cautions here. Sixth of the race. This is really slowing this race pace down. We were going good there. Had about a 160 lap green flag run, and then having more and more cautions here in the mid stage. You get 4 cautions probably in about a 20 lap stretch now. These guys just cannot get a run going. Looks like Christian Fittipaldi made his way onto pit road there, maybe topping off on fuel. You never know, that could be a good move. He is multiple laps down though. I guess I'm not entirely sure how good of a move that will be. And another restart. And another caution. Didn't see anything there. I've had more debris. Oh, there it is. Right off of Sterling Marlin's car, it looked like. Like the hood of that car probably just came off. Two cautions in the first 30 laps, 160 lap green flag run, and now we've had 5 cautions, 3 for debris in the last 20 to 25 laps. Really slowed this race pace down. Points as they run again. Martin currently the leader. Kevin Harvick came in with an narrow points lead over Mark Martin. And another green flag back in the air again. These guys are all on fairly fresher tires. It was a double file restart up at the front with having about half the field a lap down. Boy, Biffle drove it in deep underneath Kurt Busch. Check up there off of turn 2. He's able to gain a couple more spots. Slight contact in a bad spot there with Ricky Craven. He'll get on by him. Gordon just got blocked off there by Stanton Barrett. Biffle trying to get around him quickly. Barrett with a shot. Awkward angle and corner exit right back into Barrett. My goodness. Another car coming to pit road. Not sure who that was. Turns 1 and 2 where Biffle's been the best. Can't quite get underneath of Christian Fittipaldi that time. Trying to cross him over through. Oh, more cars pitting. That caused a check up here off of turn 4. 3 wide now down the front stretch. Underneath Kevin Harvick, Bill Elliott, Biffle on the inside. So I guess not everybody pitted under those cautions. Trying to stretch their fuel as far as they can, but they're going to need a long green flag run for that to work out. Otherwise, these guys are going to get trapped an extra lap down, or a lap down if they were on the lead lap before. So that might shake the running order up a little bit. Here's Hermes Sadler, another hit there, and I don't think he hit the wall. Biffle's still trying to catch the car. Oh, man! Right when you think all these green flag pit stops are done, they're not. And there was some pretty significant contact between Greg Biffle and Jeff Burton. Biffle ran into the back of him, and there's some pretty heavy damage now to that right front of Greg Biffle. He's going to have to be careful. Yeah, he's going high this time. He doesn't want there to be another checkup right in front of him. Mike Skinner trying to hold him off. Michael Waltrip right behind him, though, trying to battle Biffle for 11th. Biffle through 1 and 2. Right there. Now he's underneath Skinner. Skinner gives him room into turn 3. We are nearing 100 laps to go after that little bit of a slow point here, right around lap 200 and just beyond that. Biffle's only gained 1/10 of a second on the race lead since the restart. Handful of laps to go. Mixture of being caught in traffic and just having a lot of speed knocked out of that race car as well, but he's going to have to be careful when he catches this group of cars. A couple teammates up here of Jeff Burton and Mark Martin, but big dive into 1 and 2, trying to get underneath Ricky Rudd. The 21 car couldn't do it, and Rudd actually had a good run, not only to stay in front of Biffle, he makes a move to the inside of Martin. Biffle washed up the track a little bit off at turn 2. Biffle right underneath the 6 of Martin. Oh, man, he cut that front stretch way too much there. Got out of the gas early to beat Mark Martin back to the gas. Sliding right underneath Mark Martin. Oh, contact. Curious position there, but Biffle will get around his teammate for 10. Can't quite make a move on Ricky Rudd there. At that point in the race, we're nearing 100 laps to go, so not a whole lot of time left. You don't want to be much more patient, but with Biffle's damage on the right front, you do want to make it to the end of this fuel run, make it to pit road, and have a pit stop where you can repair that damage once again. You don't want it to be under caution either, because we've seen the bad luck on these restarts all day long. It started on that initial start of the race when we had that big wreck off of turn 4. He is going to get around Ricky Rudd, but Rudd now slides under him. Trying to get the crossover. Can he clear him? Nope. Biffle couldn't get back down to the bottom. He's in the wall again there. That was a little nerve-wracking on the outside, knowing that Biffle has that damage on the right front. Ooh, contact there with Ricky Rudd. Such a tough situation here now underneath Jerry Nadeau. Not sure if that's lap car 4 position. Biffle trying to draft off of Ricky Rudd down the back straightaway. Driving it in deep into turns 3 and 4. Washed up the track. Trying to cross Rudd back over. Rudd cut back down in front of him. A little contact. Nothing major there. Biffle needs to make sure it's not going to be major. But Rudd gets such a great run. Corner exit gets back down in front of Biffle and underneath Jeff Burton. 3 wide. This is going to get tight off of turn 2. Jeff Burton gets cleared by Ricky Rudd. That gives more room for him and Biffle to race now down the back. Very rarely Biffle can drive it hard into the corner, get it to stick. And he actually got it to stick really well in 3 and 4 there. He'll clear the 99 of Jeff Burton now. Eyes set on the 21 of Ricky Rudd. Into turns 1 and 2. Good position for Biffle to catch him. Finally going to get around Rudd. He clears him. Contact in the wall off of turn 2. Oh my goodness. Heavy damage there. He cleared him, and luckily he did, because that would have probably knocked him out of the race if he didn't. Contact there with Kevin Harvick. Quite going to clear him off of turn 2. They're going to be side by side into 3 and 4. Hopefully Biffle got it to stick that time. Clears Harvick for 10th. Caution. Debris off of Biffle's car, but he kind of needed it. I think everybody missed it. At least directly behind him, it looked like they missed the debris. That's going to be the 8th caution of the race today as they race back to the line. We'll have 101 to go. And the pace car comes off of pit road to get in front of these leaders. Another debris caution, and that time was probably after that last hit off the wall there from Biffle. That kind of cost him a little bit. You're going to see Biffle top off here. I mean, he's got to come to pit road because he's had bad luck on these restarts as it is, and I know he doesn't want to lose the track position, but they need to repair that damage on the car, or he might not make it to the end of the race. We talked about it on NASCAR Heat 5, it's about survival with the 500-mile races, and NASCAR Thunder 2004 just steps it up a whole nother level as you have seen today. This has been a caution-filled race. It's the 8th of the race now. It's just been a really weird race, too. Again, we started off 2 cautions right out of the gate. We had a 160-lap green flag run. Things were kind of calm. We had some good, clean, hard racing. And then once we got a caution for debris for the 3rd time, right around lap 200, I mean, we have just piled on the cautions pretty much since then. Biffle's the only one of the leaders to come to pit road there, but that will get him off strategy a little bit. Everybody still can make it on one stop. That is a large reason of why those guys stayed out of the pits. Biffle had to sacrifice the track position. He's got fresh tires. We'll see what he can do. 97 laps to go in this race. A lot of grip with those fresh tires now, and the repair damage. Three wide. He doesn't want to do it, but David Green gives him a little bit of a cheap shot. Biffle drives on. Got Stanton Barrett coming up. Oh, and he clips him 3 wide up the track. That could have been ugly. Sterling Marlin and Christian Fittipaldi were on the outside of Biffle when Stanton Barrett came down the track to make that contact. And he about wiped out half the field. So hung up there on Fittipaldi now. And turn 4, Biffle trying to hang it in there on the outside. He really wants to clear Michael Waltrip. Drove it off deep into turn number 1. Just cleared Michael. He's got Kenny Wallace to deal with, and Hermie Sadler's not too far up ahead as well. Biffle's going to get underneath Kenny. Kenny tried to pull the block and hit him. Gets him square off of turn 4. That's going to mess with the straightaway speed here of Greg Biffle. Drives it in deep into turn 1, 3 wide, but he's trying to get away from Kenny Wallace. And he did a good job. And Hermie Sadler was up there too, so he wanted to hustle around him as well. Off turn 4, drives it underneath Sterling Marlin. They're nearly 3 wide again. Oh, man. I'm surprised that wasn't an accident. It was an accidental contact, but nobody spun. Nobody was getting an inch there, going in 3 wide. Cars been through war and back today. 3 wide, narrow, man. It's a good thing he's got grip. Again, those tires really panning out. He's already worked himself into the top dozen. I don't know how he didn't make contact with Harvick. Threw it off deep, but actually couldn't get it to stick. That's unusual because turns 1 and 2, he's had a lot of grip down there today. 3 and 4, not so much when he does drive it in deep. Robbie Labonte washes up the track. That's a guy who really didn't want to see these cautions the way he was able to get to the lead right before lap 200, and he was able to hang on up until the yellows. Contact there, Biffle. Trying to rush a little harder to get around Terry Labonte here. He wants to get to the lead before anybody pits. Not quite in that fuel window to make it to the end of the race yet, but with 90 laps to go, knowing we are just 1 pit stop out from the finish, Biffle was actually able to make it past through 3 and 4. That was pretty impressive. Again, he hasn't done that a lot today. Right underneath the 10 of Johnny Benson. Will get around him in 1 and 2. They run underneath Robbie Gordon into turn 3. Stuck it in the corner really well. Battling Matt Kenseth for 5th. Jimmy Johnson back up to 4th place. Caution's out. And they're going to race for every position they can back to the line. Side by side for 5th between Biffle and Matt Kenseth. This will be the 9th caution of the race today. Still outside the pit window to make it to the end, even if you were to pit. Under caution right here. I don't think this is a spot on Elliott Sadler. Oh, there is the debris. Came from one of the lap cars, not sure exactly which one. We'll see who it was. Right off of Kenny Wallace, so his hood comes off the race car down the front stretch, so that is what brought out our 9th caution of the race. More debris. That has got to be the 5th debris caution of the race now. Definitely a decent amount of torn up cars out there, and Biffle stays out of the pits. A lot of the leaders do. Again, we cannot make it to the end on fuel from there, so everybody keeping their track position. Biffle still has the freshest tires in the field. Double file restart at the front with the lap cars to the inside. Green flag back in the air. He's back up here with the guys he raced with earlier. Oh, contact with Nemechek. Loose getting into turn 1, getting up to speed. Seen Biffle not have the takeoff speed on these restarts as he gets loose off in turn 2. He's also been loose on the top side as well, as you saw right there. Driving it hard into 1 and 2 to get by the lap car of Nemechek, who was on the inside. This car's not as, although it might look rough, it's not as damaged as it was earlier. Puts it in there. Gets around Robbie Gordon through 3 and 4. Still in 5th. So about 3 or 4 lap cars he's passed since the restart. And here we go. Battle for the lead is on. Biffle drove it off in there deep underneath Johnson. Although he's a little better in 1 and 2. He drove it off a little too deep. He couldn't quite stay to his inside. Johnson goes low to block. Biffle may be looking to the outside into 3 and 4. He's been a little loose up there. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. He's going to try to cut the corner. I get what he was doing there. And wow, he actually does carry some decent speed off. Johnson throws the block and Biffle had to lift anyway. We are less than, I should say, 80 laps to go this time by at the line. So we'll get underneath McMurray, now underneath Case Mears, couple lap cars again. For the lead, underneath. Oh, Johnson up the track! Johnson got really tight. Trying to make a block on Biffle, and wow, look at the run in the center of the corner by Biffle through 3 and 4. He's going for second now on Ryan Newman. He's really good in 1 and 2. He'll get around him there. Dale Jarrett, who is the race leader. Might not be for much longer with Biffle on the fresh tires behind him. Jarrett goes a little block. Biffle back to the outside. He's right there, drives it hard through 3 and 4, right underneath him. Side by side for the lead off in turn 4. Biffle will clear Dale Jarrett at the line. 79 laps to go. Biffle back out in front again. On fresh tires. It has been a long time coming for him to take the lead. It has been nearly 100 laps. All the cautions kind of plaguing in there, back in traffic, and finally was able to get up through there. And a lot of room to work with. Again, very recent off the restart. We'll have to see how the rest of this race will go forward. I'd be surprised if we get a long run to the end of this race and everybody still has to pit one more time yet, but we got 9 cautions total, and 7 of which have been in the second half of this race. The last 70 laps or so, we've had 7 of those cautions. Again, the pit window is 62 to 66 laps. So we're about 10 to 15 laps away from our window to make it to the end of the race for all these guys on the racetrack. Can alternate through the different camera angles for a short bit here. We'll tap off the wall. Ooh, big slide. Fresher tires, but maybe not fresh. A decent amount of laps on them. You can see a little more closely of the beat up front bumper of the race car. Just over a 2.5 second lead on Tony Stewart, who has now jumped up to second place. These guys are not going to be able to run Biffle down during the process of this run, and you wonder what will happen next. I'm sure we'll have some guys pit as soon as that window becomes open to the end of the race. It'd be a risk if we get another caution. I think Biffle's willing to run it out to the very end. Very end of his window, that is, and pit from there. So he'll probably be pitting anywhere between 30 to 40 laps to go if that was the case. So he's trying to stretch out the lead as far as he can now, knowing he'll lose time when everybody else is on fresher tires, but he does not want to see there be a caution after he already pits. So that is the intentions with staying out, trying to let that go into play. Almost a 5-second lead now on Tony Stewart. He is really widening it out. Largest lead of the night for Biffle's right about 7 seconds earlier in the race. And some drivers are on pit road as we speak. Man, that is really going to be stretching the limits on fuel. Got 68 laps to go. Again, I thought the window was 62 to 66 laps. They might be able to make it to the end. That might be why they pitted. But that was definitely risky, pitting this early. More cars on pit road, so maybe they think they can make it 68 laps on fuel. Some of them could be a lap down also, if you think about it. They might not have to run quite as many laps to the end of the race, so for them, they can make it on fuel to the end. So we'll have to keep an eye out there. It'll be a fuel mileage race. Come the end of it, a lot more drivers now on pit road this time by. So a lot of guys pitting and short pitting this final stop of the race today. They will likely be committed to staying out of the pits the rest of the way going forward. For Greg Biffle, he's going to wait until he knows everybody on the lead lap is pitted before he comes to pit road. He's going to try to lead as many laps as he can. About halfway out of gas currently. He's got a clean air to run with right now too, so there's really no pressure for Biffle to pit. And I think that's why Tony Stewart hasn't pit yet either. Being in second, he's got nobody in front of him because Biffle's driven away. Big loose moment there in the center of the corner that time. Eight-second lead. Dale Jarrett up to second. So Tony Stewart pitted that last time by. After all, Biffle's going to try to hustle by Stanton Barrett here. That's not somebody he wants to be around. He's on the outside. Stanton Barrett down low. He's going to let Barrett go. Slide right back in front of Steve Park, I believe, in the 30. This guy's on fresh tires, too. Might be a little faster as it is, but he did not want to get stuck on the outside. He wants to survive to the end of the race. Here comes Hermie Sadler as well. A lot of the rivals in this race right around Greg Biffle. Oh, no! Sadler just drills Biffle in turns 3 and 4.
We sure saw a lot of yellow flags.
Lots of cautions usually only means one thing. A A lot of damaged race cars. I know the teams aren't happy about that.
Greg Biffle definitely got a little banged up, and it shows what an effect it can have on your finish.
I say it over and over again. Take care of your car and it will take care of you. And guess what? When you don't, it can get ugly.
Greg Biffle had some problems on the track with David Green.
Well, when you're out there beating and banging on guys, some feathers are bound to get ruffled.
While leading the race with about 60 laps to go, Greg Biffle
This has been NASCAR Winston Cup Racing.
gets wiped out by lap car Hermie Sadler. Jeff Gordon will go on to win at Texas. 3 races, 3 different winners. And Biffle had to have led the most laps today. We'll see. Ryan Newman led a large portion of the race, finished in 4th. We'll take a look at your top 10 first. Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Michael Waltrip, followed by Ryan Newman, Robbie Gordon, Johnny Benson. Elliott Sadler, Dale Jr., Mark Martin, and Sterling Marlin rounds out the top 10. Take a look at the finishing order here. We did have a decent amount of drivers that did DNF in this race. Not many drivers finished on the lead lap either. Well, I guess 26 of them did. Bobby Labonte, remember he led a large portion of the race, middle going as well. Biffle did lead the most laps today, 91 laps led. So he'll get 10 bonus points. 19 lead changes, 10 cautions in the race today. Like we had 3 drivers DNF, Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, and Greg Biffle failed to finish. And Biffle, you don't like to see that, but man, oh man. It all kind of started at the very beginning of the day. There was heavy contact between Kenny Wallace, Greg Biffle. Wallace thought he might have done it on purpose. There was some retaliation there, and pretty much from that point on, with that huge accident, there were a lot of guys upset with Greg Biffle, thinking it was his fault that got caught up in that accident. Hermie Sadler, of course, being one of those guys. So was 60 Stanton Barrett. That was more so for a separate incident where Barrett was trying to come to pit road and ran right into Biffle. That's how the rivals were set from that point on. There was 3 of them, and because they were so slow, Biffle had to pass them, being one of the faster cars today quite a few times, and it was quite a few times too many, it looked like there. Terrible spot. He hit him hard. Didn't think there was so much damage on the left side of the race car, but that is going to end Biffle's day. That is very unfortunate. That is 2 DNFs, 3 races into the season. But this one was after having a very strong race car. Again, leading 91 laps. Next race will be at Michigan. The Sirius 400. First of 2 races at MIS, my home track. We're racing there for NASCAR Heat 5 as well, coming up in the next couple days, but we'll run NASCAR Thunder 2004 again tomorrow. So Michigan will be tomorrow's stream. Start time will be right around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that one. So we should have a fun day nonetheless. A terrible break here today. And if it wasn't for me doing the realistic broadcast, I think I probably would have been a pretty... I mean, I am a little ticked off, obviously, all things considered, because that shouldn't have never happened. But and it was out of our control. But it just comes to be. We'll take a look at the point standings here before we get going. So Harvick, Martin, and Gordon, your 3 winners, 3 races into the season. Ryan Newman will take over the points lead, just 6 points ahead of Mark Martin and 8 points ahead of Kevin Harvick. So a tight points battle there than the top 3. But again, just 3 races in. Can't really expect too much. Greg Biffle will fall back to 27th in the point standings here early on in the season. Those 2 DNFs really hurt him. The first one not as much as it hurt him today. A day where he looked to at least have a top 10 run. If not, he could have obviously contended for the race win. We were still one pit stop away from the finish, but we were, again, right around 68 laps to go at the time. So Ryan Newman will have the points lead. And, I mean, you still look at how tight the point standings are right now. And the top 24 are all within one race of each other. So, again, it's still early in the season, only 198 back. It's doable, but it's just not a pretty start, obviously, for the 16 team. But going to my home track, so hopefully we can get good luck at Michigan. Again, so long, folks. Hit the like button down below if you enjoyed the race, the commentary, the video in general. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, these realistic broadcasts with a full race live stream on the daily. So again, Thunder 04 tomorrow, Michigan, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you then, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks, and have a good rest of your night.